What's that? Oh, it's a fail. It should have had a 3JZ, it's gonna suck, it's not a Supra. Well, I'm here to dispel all those myths. It's not gonna suck, and I'm gonna tell you why this thing is gonna be awesome. There's a whole lot of negativity about this car, and it hasn't even been released yet. But I'm gonna tell you something that is super positive, and we're gonna talk about this engine right now and why this might be the modern 3JZ. Oh, and by the way, the thumbnail for this video, that apparently is the car without camo. It's been circulating around the internet for a couple days. I don't know if it's real. It looks pretty real to me. I don't know why there's so many people that are like rooting for this car to fail. This is a brand new sports car from two manufacturers, brand new platform in an era where sports cars are dying and vanishing and people are buying all kinds of SUVs. Don't buy SUVs. So why would anyone in their right mind root for a sports car, a brand new one, to fail? It's beyond me. Now this engine, the B58 engine, this is going to be powering the new Supra, and Wards has named it one of the top 10 engines for 2019. I think they also had it for 2018 as well. The B58 engine is actually a pretty high volume engine that BMW uses in the M240i, the 340, the 440, the X5, the X7, and so forth. They're actually using this block in a lot of different platforms. And just for the basics, in case you forgot, it's a 3-liter inline turbo. Butter. And why is an inline-6 engine so smooth? It's because of the way the pistons reciprocate. You got two in the middle going up and down at the same time. You got two in the outside, so it is balanced. You don't need extra balance shafts, and that's why an inline-6 is like butter. Some more quick facts on the B58. It is a twin scroll turbo. It revs up to 7,000 RPM. That's pretty good by modern standards. 11:1, that's the compression ratio for this car. Over the last couple of years, you might have noticed that compression ratios are actually going up in turbo cars. I found a great article at uwheel.com. If you Google B58 and uwheel, you're gonna find the same article that I'm basing this video off of. It's very detailed. So back in the 2000s, there was a war going on. Wait, what war? Isn't war bad? Well, no. This war was over power. Lots of power, and it was about how much power the Japanese auto manufacturers could make in the early 2000s. This is the 6-cylinder war, mostly V6s. So Nissan in 2001 with the VQ35 engine was making about 255 horsepower. Fast forward just a couple years to 2005, and they're making 300. Pretty healthy increase. But Toyota, they're feeling a little left out. What are they gonna do? So they came out with a 3.5-liter 2GR FSE. It makes 306 horsepower. But poor BMW, where are they? In 2005, they got the N52 engine, 3 liters. It's only making 255 horsepower. They haven't been going to the gym so much. But actually, they have. In 2006, after apparently years of secret development, they rolled out the N54 engine. It's a turbo, and it's in my BMW 1M and a lot of other BMW cars from that era. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, there was a lot of acclaim for this engine in all the major magazines like Motor Trend and Car and Driver, and I think somebody named it Engine of the Year. So the N54 is an open block design. It means the top of the block has water passages that are open around the pistons. It's definitely better for cooling, but it can't handle as much pressure as a closed deck design. And if you search YouTube, I found a couple different videos, one showing it making 860 horsepower, another one making 950. I can't comment on how reliable those engines are, but it's pretty obvious people can make a lot of power out of the N54. The B58 is 2 generations after the N54. The B58 B3001 is the engine that is used in the brand new 2020 Toyota Supra. It is a closed deck design, which means it can handle more pressure and more boost. Now there's a downside to this. It comes with more restrictive cooling, and there's definitely a little bit more cost to manufacture this engine. But there's a side benefit too. It is lighter than the previous designs. BMW uses a technology called electric arc wire spraying. They spray a plasma metal on the interior of the cylinders, and it eliminates the need for cylinder sleeves. This technology is also used in the Lexus LFA, and the Nissan GTR. The B58 uses an air-to-liquid intercooler, and it's integrated right into the intake plenum. So that means there's no intercooler in the front bumper, which means a shorter path for the air to take. That means improved throttle response, and it also means a little bit less turbo lag. And it's also compact and lighter than a full-on intercooler setup in the front of the bumper. Another indication that this engine can handle a lot of power is the crankshaft is forged, it's not cast, which means it's stronger than the N54. But here's the question everybody wants to know: how much power can this engine make? I emailed Terry Berger of Berger Motorsports, BMS. They're pretty famous for the JB4 chip, their tuning package. They have a tuning package for this engine, which is CARB approved. That means it is smog legal in California. And that package makes about 50 horsepower and about 40 pounds-feet of torque with no other modifications to the engine. Now that's pretty good. However, I asked them, are you working on anything else? And they said they've got something called a pure Stage 2 turbo. What they've done is they've bolted on a larger turbocharger to the car, and I'm sure some supporting mods as well. And this engine, I'm going to throw the graph up, is making 540 horsepower, and Terry says they've got a little bit more to go because they're still working on refining the tune and some fueling issues. That's a fair bit of power. That's 542 to the wheel, that's got to be over 600 at the crank, and imagine this amount of power in a Toyota Supra that weighs about 3,300 pounds. That is a power to weight ratio of about 6 pounds per horsepower. That's pretty good. If you're making 542 wheel horsepower in a 3,300 pound car, that is not gonna be slow. If you do that to your Supra, it's gonna be pretty fast. This is why I'm saying this might be the new 3JZ, and it's certainly lighter than the old 2JZ. So this clip is from a video I did a couple weeks ago with Zygreen comparing the 1M to the M2. The M2 has the next version of the engine, it's the N55. So the power in the stock N54, not that amazing. It's about 335 horsepower. Overboost torque is about 370. My car has some supporting mods, and the last time I dynoed it, I made about 430 pounds-feet of torque and almost 400 wheel horsepower. The car is not slow, so anybody that says the Supra is going to be slow with a couple mods, I don't agree. I think that's wrong. My BMW weighs about the same as the Supra. It has a longer wheelbase than the Supra, if you can imagine that, and it's still a pretty point-and-shoot kind of car, especially in canyons. If you want more Supra news and other car stories, hit subscribe. I'm going to be at the 2019 Detroit Auto Show. Remember to ask me questions that you want to learn about the Supra. See you in the next video.